Are the Big Bad Bruins finally back? Entering the 2024 season, the Bruins have the heaviest average weight of any NHL roster at a whopping 210 pounds. The Bruins' overall lineup has been trending heavier for the last 5 years. In 2020, the Bruins ranked 21st in weight. In 2021, they were 18th. 2022, 10th. Then last season, 4th. But how did the Bruins come to be big and bad in the first place? Stan Fischler's 1969 book, Bobby Orr and the Big Bad Bruins, is considered the first time the Bruins were ever called big and bad.
And the title, Bobby Orr and the Big Bad Bruins, was something that just came to me.
In that 1969 season, the Bruins led the NHL in goals and penalties.
Sanderson and Esposito, Hull and Orr.
And we've got a quick whistle as Magnuson hits Sanderson from behind, and Orr takes Magnuson down hard. Sanderson throws McKay's jersey up into the seats.
On their way to their first Stanley Cup since the 1940 season.
Busick keeps it in. Leach has got it. Into Busick. Busick scores! It's 6-1.
That team's heaviest player was Johnny Busick at only 215 pounds. What about number 4, Bobby Orr?
Here's Orr walking in. Shoots. Scores!
Despite being in the title of Fischler's book, Orr stood 6 feet and 197 pounds. That's almost the same size of Parker Wotherspoon, the smallest defenseman on the Bruins roster. When you mention the best of the Big Bad Bruins throughout their 100-year history, it's hard to leave out the Tasmanian Devil, Terry O'Reilly.
Stay level-headed and treat everybody with the respect that you would expect.
Sanderson and O'Reilly squaring off. O'Reilly brings him down.
O'Reilly has been hitting everything in sight. We're in the... And here's O'Reilly and Turnbull, and they go at it again. O'Reilly flailing away, and Turnbull head-to-head. O'Reilly's jersey over him, and he's fighting anyway.
O'Reilly was one of the toughest NHL players of all time, routinely logging over 200 penalty minutes per year. We know he was bad, but was he big? Standing at 6 foot 1 inch tall and 200 pounds, Taz would be one of the smallest Bruins on this year's team. For comparison, he's almost the exact same size as Bruins center Elias Lindholm and just a little bit bigger than Bruins superstar winger David Pastrnak. It's hard to talk about the biggest and baddest Bruins without talking about the biggest and baddest of them all, Zdeno Chara.
Kane's in trouble! Chara's just using his head as target practice. Had enough!
Standing at a skyscraping 6 foot 9 inches, Chara is the tallest player in NHL history. With skates on, he's over 7 feet tall, and he'd be the 4th tallest person on this year's Celtics team. Chara is so tall that the league had to use an exemption to allow him to use a specially made 65-inch stick. That's only 5 inches shorter than Bruins captain Brad Marchand. He used that stick to record the hardest shot ever seen in the NHL at a blistering 108.8 miles per hour back in 2012. The Big Bad 2024 Bruins are anchored literally by free agent signing Nikita Zadorov.
Zadorov another right, Zadorov a right, Zadorov a right, Zadorov a right. He just pummeled Jamie Benn and knocked him to his knees.
Born in Moscow, Zadorov stands at 6'6" and weighs 248 pounds. That's basically the same exact size as New England Patriots tight end Hunter Henry. Zadorov was a first-round pick in 2013 by the Buffalo Sabres. Everywhere Zadorov has been, he's been Big Z. But now that he's in Boston, he's making sure that Zdeno Chara is the one and only Big Z around the hub.
I want to start with, I know in my past teams, people were calling me Big Z. Please do not ever call me Big Z now, because I feel like I'm not even close to be called half of the Big Z. He's unbelievable. He's one of the best defensemen of all time. There's definitely a lot to learn from him. Obviously, he was one of my role models growing up because size, kind of physical play and everything, and the way the leader he is, I think I can learn a lot from him.
Zadorov stands as the biggest of the beefed-up blue line the Bruins are rolling out for the 2024 season. After feeling pushed around by a larger and tougher Florida Panthers team, Bruins general manager Don Sweeney set out to build a bigger and badder back end. Now, Bruins all-star Charlie McAvoy is the smallest of the regular top 6 defensemen. While no one carries as much weight as the massive Zadorov, The rest of his defensive crew are no slouches. Second-year blue liner Mason Lohrei and veteran Brandon Carlo both measure in at 6'5". Right behind them stands Hampus Lindholm at 6'4" and Andrew Peeke at 6'3". Bruins president Cam Neely, who during his playing days stood 6'1" and 218 pounds, acknowledged this current Bruins roster is built for a playoff run.
I mean, our back end is big, and they got some beef to them, which I think it bodes well in the playoffs. I mean, you got to get to the playoffs, but I think, we're built a little bit stronger for the playoffs.
But does it translate to on-ice success? Recent history tells us it does. The heaviest team in the league over the last 5 years has been either the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Vegas Golden Knights, two of the most recent Stanley Cup winners and perennial playoff contenders. So are the Big Bad Bruins truly back? In the weight room and on the roster sheet, absolutely. But they don't play the games on scales. The Big Bad Bruins will have to prove it on the ice.